All right, all right. We are here Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. We're back. Digital Marketing Network. Mickey Black, Jennifer J. Here to talk about everything. Well, not everything AI and automations. I think we're narrowing it down. Today, we're back talking about landing pages specifically. Landing pages, big deal. I mean, really in terms of getting your offer out there, getting your message. I think all the action really does happen on the landing pages, and that's where people make their decisions. So having really good content on your landing pages is key. I'm talking about automation and AI strategies around landing pages. I've got a couple of notes on the AI front in terms of content generation, but Jennifer J, I know you're the automation specialist. What would you say would be the top three things from an automation standpoint that I should keep in mind on a landing page? Is it like capturing emails? Is that the most important thing? Is it e-commerce? What's the big deal about landing pages?
I'm going to say the number one goal is to capture their information however you can capture it, right? So for instance, our main system is just the chat automation, right? Meaning we automate conversations. The best way for me to capture people on the landing page is to demo that. So it's text this word to this number. Well, now I've captured your information. So based off of what we're taught to do, which is to put the form up there and capture their information with the form, or just get creative with the form and have it pop up at certain places. The goal is to capture the information however you can.
That is a good point because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people you see page after page, and sometimes you're trying to contact them and you can't find the form. So I think that's a good thing to keep in mind is capture. And so, what would you say would be the best way? So I know a lot of people do email, a lot of people do SMS strategies, a lot of people do try and do like the social capture. What would you say would be the key metric or channel that you want to capture first if you didn't do anything else?
Definitely their email or their phone. Just
Gotcha.
capturing that information is the best way, even if you don't have their name. If you have one of those pieces of real estate, you can continue to market to them, even if you don't know their name. You're going to know what channel you captured the information. So you'll be able to send them information based on the channel that they came in on. But you want to capture that information the best way you can.
Gotcha.
And if you want to you can be fancy and use a QR code that has that capture feature embedded inside of it. It's capture is the number one name of the game.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That is a good point, and I think a lot of people don't stress that enough.
Mhm.
So on my side, on the AI side, one interesting thing. So I know in terms of what you can do to generate content, you can do a lot of things. You can, write the copy on ChatGPT, and you can make the pictures, Midjourney, and all that other good stuff.
Mhm.
But one thing I recently started to do was multilingual content because when you write content on chat gpt, it's pretty true to native language. It's not like Google Translate. It's a comprehensive thought. It may not necessarily always be the tone you want, but it is a comprehensive thought. So if you want to do messaging, whether or not it be in Spanish or French or whatever, you
Mhm.
could create content in French. Like, so I've had a couple of campaigns where we produced the content in French.
Mhm.
I don't think we were the thing we weren't ready for. So the campaign itself was really successful. The thing we weren't ready for was how many people would then now be talking to us in French.
That was my first thought when you said it. Like, oh, Mickey must know French.
So we were like, oh, we weren't ready for like all of these French speaking clients because like, oh, Parlez-vous français? So we weren't ready for the second part of that sort of client engagement. But in terms of really getting the message out in the first place,
Mhm,
and really being able to reach that audience, it
mhm,
is a really good use case if you want to take your content and reach a Spanish market, reach a French speaking market. You can even reach an Asian market in terms of Chinese,
mhm.
Mandarin, Korean, whatever. But I think that's one of the things that people aren't necessarily leveraging with AI so much yet. What are your thoughts around that? Do you? What are your thoughts?
Um, that's awesome that you played with that. My first the first thought that came to my head was like, that's going to attract people that only speak those languages. Why would you do that? Now, I do have a partnership in California where one of my partners is French, and there are just so many different dialects of one language, right? And
Yes.
so we did have to convert the information in the system to French, right?
Yes.
We didn't use Chat GPT. We went the old way. We just copied the information and gave it to them, like, here, you translate it. But
Gotcha.
I guess that is a good use case if you have someone who is able to communicate back to them when they come through in their native language. It is a great use case for you to not be so dependent on one person. Like we said, we sent it to them to translate, and so we had to wait for them to translate it and bring it back. I guess it would be super easy to just throw it in Chat GPT and say, hey, translate this into French or whatever, and it's done in minutes.
Yeah, and that's a good point when you're talking about dialects. So when we were doing it, we did specify specific dialects. So we specified
Mhm,
um, Parisian dialect, how they
mhm,
would speak in a contemporary environment. So how somebody
mhm,
would speak if they were in a modern Parisian,
mhm,
corporate environment. So that I think that's a good point to
mhm,
specify dialect and any cultural reference,
mhm,
which is a big thing. I think there's a lot of dialogue around what they call inclusive AI, in terms of the AI
mhm,
being culturally aware of context and social any social factors that they should keep in
mhm,
mind when communicating.
mhm,
So yeah, that's a good point. The whole dialect piece. So if you're gonna venture into the language or multi-language, definitely understand, are you talking about Castilian European Spanish or South American Spanish, or like how they speak Spanish in the Bronx, which might be three different things, but you want to be aware.
mhm. Right. Exactly. Yeah, that was just my first thought when you said that. So no, that's amazing though.
Yeah, it's crazy. Another one, and I don't know. You mentioned this a little bit when you were talking about Taja and how they optimize
Mhm,
certain things, and you can do
mhm,
that a lot with whether it be web copy or anything else. And then it's what they call like content gap analysis. And so you can have Chat GPT or any other tool crawl your site and say, what articles am I missing that my you know target audience would be interested in? And it can look
mhm,
at the articles you have and say, oh, well, you know what? You're not hitting these key points or these questions or these inquiries. And it can start to help you fill in the gap around your content, and that helps you kind of shape it in the next way to go. And you mentioned Taja yesterday kind of does that. Is that the
mhm.
whole thing where they optimize videos?
Yes, so they not only do this gap analysis, but well, yeah, they not only do that, but yes, they optimize your videos. So once you put your video out there, you're able to just put the link in Taja. It will optimize the video. It will also create shorts for that same video that you can now post, and that leads back to that video. What I've learned is when you're presenting and when you're speaking and when you're doing things like this, you need to be aware of that,
Yeah.
because I did one of our first episodes and I'm like, oh, we need to stop talking. We just talk, 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 talk. And so when it's trying to pull those segments, it it's pulling it, but it doesn't make sense because we don't have those pauses. So always talking doesn't help you. So you also have to be aware before you even start using the software of how to present your content. So yes, Taja AI does do the gap analysis after you post it. It will watch your channel and then it'll come back and say, "Hey, we have some suggestions." I think it's called your growth something. Your growth something is ready. And so you click on your videos and it lets you know how the video performed and how you can perfect the video, changing the video. Cuz like it told me I needed to make a better captivating intro to grab someone's attention. So it was looking inside of the video, not just at the outside elements. It actually crawled and analyzed the content.
That is wild. That is wild. So and now it doesn't re-edit the video. It just gives you new description, title. Gotcha.
That
That
would
is
be
wild.
fire.
That, no,
Like,
Taj
okay,
got right
make
on
that change. Click.
Awesome. So now, and I think the other thing we kind of talked about was content personalization. So when you're talking about the ability to, and maybe this is a little bit almost, step in terms of really personalizing the content. Now, do you do anything around content personalization on websites? Like, is that possible where on the landing page, whether it be like sticky content or anything that is almost predicated off of like who's coming to the site?
So it's funny. I just had a conversation with one of my good friends about that and how to create that experience for people. So you know who does it really well is Grant Cardone and Neil Patel. And
Huh.
so you'll, or how, if you've ever gone to a site and it's like car insurance rates in Atlanta, Georgia, or it'll say your city
Yeah.
specifically, right? Without you even without you even opting into their content. So that's what got me. I currently don't do any of that right now, because my focus is so solely on the back end and sales, but that I feel like that is a great way to get that number one goal done, which is capturing their information. That would give a great way for them to stop and say, "Oh wow," and to pay attention to your content so you can get their information. Do you do any of that?
The only thing I do is what they call like sticky captures. So if you've been to my website before and whether you've registered or anything, when you come and just even if the chat um, greets you, it'll say your name, and so and then if you're say for instance if you've already registered and you are signing up for a subsequent course or a digital product, it'll know
Mhm,
it's you and already like populate some of the registration for you so you don't have to start from scratch. You just
mhm,
populate what you want in terms of what you're ordering. You don't have to like introduce yourself and put all your information from scratch. So I do that. It would be the next step would be to say for instance have content that's catered to the sort of like profession that you are. So say for instance if you're a real estate
okay,
agent,
mhm,
have like tips or modules that are specific to
mhm,
solutions for your category
mhm,
versus like if you worked in healthcare or you were a lawyer or something, it would have like applications that were specific to what it knew you did as a profession. That's
Mhm.
sort of like the 2.0, but for right now, it's just like information and chats. That's
Right. So yeah, I think I overanalyzed that as I seem to do. Wonder. So yeah, I do the sticky just making it easier for people, right? That's always my goal is to make things as easy as possible because I can't overcomplicate it. But also, yeah, with the being able to utilize their name and the customized content. I think my content to my industry is to more so of a vertical than a niche, meaning I know all businesses need to start utilizing what we call chat automation, which is the text in the keyword and DM in the keyword and DM in the comments and putting the comments on so you can capture their information. Because again, the name of the game is capture. So we're really heavy on that. I see it all the time where people aren't doing that. And so that our messaging is to that, stressed out, you're overwhelmed. Well, this will help you stop. Number one, just this little simple thing. So I think that is the personalization, and it definitely for most people you have to know your audience and who
yeah,
you're serving. What does your service or your product, what problem does it solve? Who are the people behind it? And once you know that, you're able to now customize these things, your messaging, and give them the customization that they need.
yeah, I totally agree. So now, speaking of which, now I know because you talked about the things that people need and a lot of the automation things. So now, these days, what are you specifically doing for clients these days? And if somebody's looking to work with you, where can they get you? How are you engaging, or are you even taking on new clients, or what are you up to these days?
Yeah, so we're taking on new customers, and what we're doing is we are just really on a campaign to bring the awareness toward using technology to leverage capturing people's information, right? So a couple episodes ago we talked about, the rise of people using their mobile phones, the voice
Mm-hmm.
search and all of those things. People are doing business different, and we need to meet them where they're doing business at. And so what we're just really trying to help people is get started. So getting started with setting up those chat automations that you can use not only for on your pages and in your content, but when you meet someone,
Mm-hmm.
instead of giving them your business card, say, hey, text the word system to 470-517-7006. Here's my phone number. Text the word system out here. Text system. Let me give you a number. And
Yeah.
now instead of going back and forth with a business card, they have your information and they're enrolled into your system. So just trying to get people to leverage that. Now, that's how you can get in touch with me. If you want to learn more about how this can serve your business and your industry, or someone who it can help, text the word system to 470-517-7006. That's it.
To it. You heard it here, folks. In the meantime, we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. And in the meantime, I'm gonna steal your phrase. Have, have an automated day. Cheers.